CELPIP Writing Task 2 has a lot of marks, and there are confusions with the question types. There are confusions how many bodies, how many paragraphs you're supposed to do. So today we will discuss all of that. We will discuss the different question types and how many points you need per body, how many paragraphs you need. Very, very important things, not only for the structure of writing, but also for the different question types you get. And I'll give you the good options and the average options. In some cases, average options might work better for you if you make too many mistakes on the good options because they're for slightly advanced users. So you'll have an idea of what I'm talking about in just a second. First of all, let's look at the question type here. This is different than another question type I'm going to show you. Now here, it's a survey question, part 2 of CELPIP. Your city is planning to use the empty plot of land to build something beneficial for the locals. Currently, the ministers have decided to go for a museum, considering the educational opportunities. However, they're also open to creating a university, and then you got your typical line here, 150 to 200 words, explaining your choice. So option A is to build a university to promote various courses, and option B is to build a museum to educate people about history. First of all, let's talk about the word limit. So we're really going into everything needed for task 2. You should write 180 to 190 words. Don't let this fool you. If you write 150 words, you're writing way too less. You might have enough gaps in your task response with lack of explanation, and you will definitely have very low use of range of a vocab. Please don't write at the lower end, and don't try to think that that way you will do less mistakes. You will actually end up making more mistakes on other parts that I just mentioned. 210 words is allowed, but not more than that. However, it's best to go 180 to 190. That's really the best limit. Okay. Now, in this type of question, let's call it question type 1 because you get two very different options. You have a university and a museum, very, very different. You have an approach here where you should use always, in all cases, 2 body paragraphs. So we have approach A and approach B. Before I get into that, let me tell you, around these bodies, you need to have the intro and conclusion. So in total, for example, if we're looking at approach A, we should have introduction, 2 bodies, and your conclusion. This way you have total of 4 paragraphs, and the intro is going to mention your opinion. Bodies will explain that opinion in detail. We'll get to that. And the conclusion will simply rephrase your opinion. So that's what these 4 paragraphs do. That is the case with all question types, all formats, even the ones we're going to discuss later on. So remember, intro, body 1, body 2, and conclusion. Those are your 4 best paragraphs to use. Now, if you want to know what words and phrases you have to use, check out our templates. There's a writing video and an entire writing playlist, in fact, down in the description and the links. Check that out. And check out our most advanced templates, the best CELPIP words, and detailed videos on the exam-specific strategies in our CELPIP 15-hour course. You can also find that in the description and under the shop links. So when we start with approach number 1, this is the one that is the most popular. This is the one that I recommend students. This is the one that advanced users can use, and this is the one that will give you the most amount of marks. Here it's simple. You got to do 2 points per body paragraph. For example, in this question that we looked at, I supported university. Let's build a university instead of a museum. So when I go to body 1, I got to have 2 points per body. So body 1 point supporting the university could be the larger scale of employment compared to a museum, because you would have more courses, more teachers per course. The second point could be something like the university would add more legitimacy to the city, would bring in more students, and increase the city's revenue and taxes. So that's my 2 points. Now, when I go to body 2, again, I got to do 2 more points, this time against, remember this, against the other opinion, which in this case was the museum. So we're not supporting the museum. It's not IELTS. There we do that. Here, we are going against the museum. So when I go to my body 2, I'm going to say, well, the museum has 2 problems. One is that our town has mostly young people. They're not going to be interested in the old stuff. Second point could be that the museum wouldn't bring in many tourists because nowadays people are attracted to technological places or advanced or exciting adventure-filled areas instead of something mundane like museums. Something like that would be my second point. So I would do 2 points in body one supporting my side, 2 points in body two against the other side. You get the maximum marks here because you fulfill the task response completely. You're going to give so many points supporting your side, and again, when you oppose the other side, you're telling the examiner why you didn't pick that. That gives you a lot of range of vocab when you compare both of the things, and it just details every reason that you need, after which the examiner cannot say, well, this person didn't answer the question. Of course you answered the question, as long as you have explained them correctly and you have given the reasons, the rationale behind it in a nice way. Doing 2 points per body, per point, really helps you achieve that. The second option is you do 2 bodies, but here you do 1 point per body. So this is where you would, in body one, support your reason by stating 1 point, like universities would give employment, detail that. And in body two, you would do another point, this time again supporting your idea. You're not going to talk about the museum because it has just limited points. You have to focus on your side. So the second point, which could be anything about like university, again, attracting students and increasing city's revenue. So here you just have 1 point per body. Now this is not recommended because you're completely ignoring the museum. If you're doing body one, 1 point for university, body two, another point for the university, which is this approach, you don't have the comparison. You're completely ignoring the other topic. You wouldn't have range of vocab that would oppose and you can show your support in body one. You don't have that versatility. And that's why you would lose marks in all those places. But let me ask you something. Isn't this approach easier than this approach? Like it's less things to think about and it's easier to write. It's just like 2 points. Yes, and that's why people who are not that advanced will make lesser mistakes here just because it's less intense, it's less pressure. However, if you're an advanced user, go with this. If you can handle this within the time limit, within the word limit, and most students can, trust me. Most students are able to do this very efficiently. When you do this, you get the maximum marks. So that should really be the go-to, but if this is too hard, this is the second best option. Okay, now let's look at another question. You can read it. You can pause the video and read it. Basically, it's asking you have a park. There's some empty space. The park mainly focuses on recreational sports, but the management is thinking to add a picnic area. Now, there's option one. Should we build the picnic area, family picnic area, or leave the park the way it is and not build a picnic area? This is different because here you don't have two different subjects. You have do this or not do this. So the same thing or opposite. In this case, we have a slightly different approach. We still have 2 bodies. Now here you could do 1 point per body or 2 points per body, but again, you can see my order of preference is different. Here in these types of questions, it is better to do 1 point per body. And if you do 2 points per body, it's okay too, but here's the problem. If I'm supporting my opinion about, yeah, we should build a family picnic area. So I'm going to give 1 point in body one and say that it's important, families can mingle and great for socializing. Body two, 1 point would be that it would increase the variety of people coming to the park, and that would help the local vendors at the park. So that's 2 points, pretty simple. Now, if you think about speaking against the other option, right? So the other option is clearly don't build a park. So if we are speaking against don't build a family area, the opposite of that would be build a family area. So essentially, you will just be continuing the same points again. If you choose to do 2 points per body, you would have done 4 points total on just one side. There is no other side here. As I said, there's not a university or museum. They're not 2 different subjects. It's one subject, and it's basically favor or against. So if you do 2 points per body, you're doing 4 points. It's too many things to think on one topic, and it doesn't help you because you're not comparing, so it doesn't give you your marks for range of vocab or anything. You're not ignoring anything because it's if you ignored the museum, for example, in the first question type, you just talk about your point, there's a problem. You're missing a part of the question. But here, you're not ignoring anything. There's just one thing. You're just talking about the family picnic area. So it's better in this case to go with 1 point per body instead of 2. Just elaborate that well, give examples if needed, explain the why and how behind your points so that we can make your body longer, and this would be a more suitable approach. So remember that, guys, and make sure you're careful with the selection of points with each question type. Make sure you're on the word limit, and make sure to please also like, share, and subscribe so we keep uploading great content for you. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Talk to you soon.